Now, we've been enjoying our xTool F1 Laser Engraver and engraving a variety of materials. We've been working on wood, acrylic, even leather like this. But in today's video, I'm going to show you how well it does with metal. We're going to show you how you can take something like this, metal wallet, and turn it into something like this. Check that out. Or even something that looks like this. Now, there's a lot of different metals that you can engrave with the xTool F1 Laser Engraver. It's not just limited to those objects, but let me show you some of the other things that we've made. And in this video, I'm going to give you a sneak peek of how easy it is to engrave things like this. Let's get right to it. Now, the xTool family of laser engravers comes with the xTool Creative Space. And this is the software that's going to allow you to create incredible both engravings and then also art, depending on what you're going to be using your laser engraver for. In this case, what we're looking at right now is the Creative Space view for the F1. And you can see that the F1 is over here on the side. And what I have done here is I've created my own jig to help me create repeatedly laser engravings for bottle openers, since we're going to be focusing on metal. And what you'll notice here is that I have several different engravings that are going to take place all at once. Now, what I could do is if I was doing this for, let's say, for an order, I could actually take all of these and make them the same, and I'd be able to engrave all of these in a batch, just get them out repeatedly over and over again. And the cool thing is that the F1 has a little repeat button that if you tap it twice, it's going to engrave your engravings at the same time over and over and over again. So for example, if I had let's say all of these bottle openers had this same text on it, I could actually have this going multiple times. Do one, put in the new bottle openers, do another, put in the bottle openers, and then continue to do it without having to send the job to print, as you're going to see in a couple seconds. Now, what I've done here is I have my text, and I've created multiple layers, and you'll notice that I have something over here that's called the text layer. And then what I've done is I've set my settings. So I have a blue laser, and then basically I have it set at 100 with my speed of 340. I have one pass, and my lines per centimeter are set at 300. And the engraving mode is bidirectional. Now, depending on the type of metal that I'm engraving, I may choose IR as well. I find that for silver bottle openers, IR is better. And what I've done is I've created a full series of different type of presets that I've created based on the things that I have been engraving. So basically what I have now is I have everything aligned. I also have all the coordinates. This is just me being me. So we have our coordinates right here as to where each one of these points start. And then these are all of the pieces that I have set in place. Each one of them have an engraving setting as well as a resolution. Now, what I could do is go to the actual laser itself and do a frame. When I do a frame, I'm actually going to see how these all align, and I highly recommend that you always frame before you engrave. That way you don't make mistakes. Now, I have two ways that I can frame. One is this is showing me where everything is going to be engraved, and you'll notice that there's a big rectangle. I also can have it where each one of these items show up. Let me show you. Now, in this view, I'm able to see each one of the engravings where they're placed, and they look great. Now that we've finished framing, the next step is to process. All I have to do is hit the process button. These are all the engravings that are going to come up. This is one for me, one for my wife, one for my son, one for a friend, and this is for another friend of ours. Let's hit start. All right, so now that everything looks good, the next step is to put its engrave. Now, we sped up this video so that we can just accelerate the overall recording process. So the text went really fast, and now what you're seeing is the QR code and some of the images. Typically, what I've noticed is that graphics take a little bit longer, but text is super fast, and it just does it really quick. All right, it's done. Here's another view so you can see the actual quality again coming out of that. And that just took minutes to make. Excellent. Now let me show you how I created that wallet. And this was also a very simple exercise. Once again, using the xTool Creative Space to do this. Now, I purchased this artwork from one of the sites that I use when we're creating signs and things like this. And given that we have Memorial Day coming around the corner, this is going to be a great piece to make. So I've also created several jigs. So the jigs just make it easy to engrave so that I can create repeatable processes around when I do an engraving. it's always going to be aligned, and it's always going to be in the same spot. So we're following the exact same process. We bring the graphic into the creative space. I have a jig here that actually has this alignment that you see right here, this little box. This represents the actual wallet, right? The placement of the wallet and where it's going to go. And then what I've done is I've put where I want this graphic to be laid out. Now, the other thing that I did is when I selected this, I'm going to invert this to this color because I want everything that's in black is what's going to be engraved, right? Because if I leave it as it was from the original graphic, it's just going to look like this. And it's not going to look good, right? So what I want to do is I want to have everything that you see here, it's going to pop in white or whatever color the metal is underneath the black of the wallet, and we're going to be set to go. There's a couple options that you have to work with. I can leave it on the original. I can change the attributes if I'd like. I could increase the sharpness if I want. And what it will do is it'll just make it a little bit crispier, which is something that you could do. And then what I could also then do is if I wanted to edit the image even further, I could do that as well. I can go ahead over here. I've also have some material settings that I've already set up. So these are the color settings that I've chosen for this. I'm using the IR laser. I'm using my dot duration. These are all the settings. And what I've done is as I'm creating all these things, I actually save them so I can come back to it. So you can see I have right here, IR black, aluminum, right? And that's for the wallet itself. So all I'm going to do now is I'm going to hit, I've already framed. You saw me frame before. I always frame first to make sure things are good. I'm going to hit process, and then this is what the image, what's going to be outputted to that wallet. And I'm just going to hit go now. Now we're going to speed up the actual engraving process. This does take some time. It's anywhere from 5 to 6 minutes, depending on the actual quality of the wallet engraved that you're seeking. I went with the highest possible quality because I wanted it to be super crispy and wanted just to get the detail to really pop on this wallet. Anytime you're doing a metal engrave or anytime you're using a material that you've never used before, in addition to framing, you'll want to do a material test, and that's going to give you kind of a sense of how well the product is going to engrave, and it's also going to tell you the color. You'll notice that when we're done with this engrave that the color of the material that's being removed is not quite silver. It's almost like a beige, but that's due to the material itself. That's due to the metal that's underneath the actual black coating. So this is going to vary from material to material. So anytime you get metal that's coated, always run a material test so you can see what kind of power, what kind of speed, and then also what kind of colors you're going to get out of it. I actually like this because it's almost like a military color, and it works really well with specifically the effect that we're trying to get here with this specific card and this engrave. But you'll notice on the other card that we did, the actual output was white because the card, the material underneath the coating was white. So as you can see here, this thing is going super fast. And again, it is accelerated somewhat because of this video, but this is great. All right, let's take a look and you'll see how fantastic this image looks. Super crispy, fast. And again, the cool thing about this is that literally somebody can wait, because you can do this on demand for anyone in any kind of event. You don't have to have these blanks recorded or engraved. You can do it just as they wait. So guys, you saw how easy it was to create all those objects with the xTool F1 Laser Engraver. It's super easy to engrave a variety of metal objects. And I'm telling you, it has endless possibilities. See you in the next video.